Likelihood of it reaching the road, it's very high probability that this lava flow, if it continues, will definitely reach the road.
You heard it there from the HVO. There's a real chance that lava will reach Saddle Road. More on that in just a moment.
Yeah, the Honolulu Board of Water Supply is holding a press conference right now about that toxic foam spill at the Red Hill Fuel Facility. Now, officials say about 1,100 gallons of the firefighting foam known as AFFF leaked yesterday, and the foam contains so-called forever chemicals that don't break down. We see Eddie Lau at the podium right now. Let's listen in.
Which contained PFAS, polyfluorinated alkyl substances in that foam. Leaked out near adit number 6. We were made aware of it first. I was made aware first. I guess a certain reporter with Civil Beat did inquire with us if we are aware of it, and we said we hadn't received no information from the Navy or the Department of Health. Subsequently, at about, I think it was around 6:45 p.m., I did get a contact from the Director of Health informing me of this release. And thereafter, maybe just before 8, the Navy, an admiral in the Navy did contact me and to give me an update of what happened. Of course, I was wanted to get more information. So one thing I'd like to request of the Navy and also our regulators, when you first become aware of something like this happening at Red Hill, because the Board of Water Supply, we represent the people of our community that depend on this water resources, to please call us immediately. All of the officials have my cell phone number, and they can just reach out to me, text me, or just call me on my cell. And because we need to know right away if something as serious as this has happened. So that would be my request to them. We do not want to see these types of chemicals in our being released over our important aquifers, our freshwater resources, because these things can pose serious threats to our drinking water resources, and they are persistent in the environment. The EPA is actually looking at regulating some of these substances next year, and even maybe classifying some of them as hazardous materials. So they are very serious. We want to keep them out of our environment. Thanks to Mr. Aaron Kawata, my deputy manager, we've actually run tests for these chemicals at all of our wells over the last 2 years in preparation for future regulation by the EPA. And I'm just glad to say at this time, I think we've only found some low levels in 2 of the wells. And all the other wells, we haven't detected any of these PFAS type of chemicals in them. I am going to distribute today a copy of a letter that we just sent this morning, addressed to Martha Guzman, the Regional Administrator for Region 9, US EPA, and Dr. Elizabeth Char, the Director of the State Department of Health. And this letter basically makes some demands of our regulatory agencies, and asking them to demand of the Navy that they begin immediately weekly testing of all Navy monitor wells, and including Red Hill Shaft for PFAS, to the lowest detection levels possible by approved laboratory methods. We also ask that the regulatory agencies demand from the Navy to fully disclose all past AFFF uses and any PFAS compounds from the time AFFF systems were installed at Red Hill, and also including the records of all AFFF releases to the present. We need to know what we're dealing with. And right now, we're dealing with 104 million gallons of fuel, and And now we have to add on to that PFAS, these forever chemicals that are potential, are risk to our water resources. I must say that this issue was something that I asked the regulators almost 6 months ago for information and to require the Navy to do these tests. So I'm not asking anymore. I'm demanding that we have a right to know what's stored there and being used at Red Hill in addition to the 104 million gallons of petroleum. We want to know what kind of chemicals are being stored there and used on that facility that could be a risk to the environment. And if they must use these foam systems, then they should select products that do not are not placing our environment at risk. And there are options for them to convert to safer foam, firefighting foam systems, and they should consider that. So this is copies of the letter is going to be shared with all of you. I'm sorry, I couldn't get a good night's sleep last night. Because it was like at 2 o'clock in the morning. And not a literal scream or cry, but in my mind, it almost felt like I heard a scream or cry of our aquifer, the vi in our aquifer in that area crying out to say, no more contamination. Don't put any more contamination into our precious vi. So I would hope the Navy would consider, no, I don't hope, I demand of the Navy, you need to move faster. The AFFF systems only exist because there's still petroleum stored there at Red Hill. Remove the petroleum, and there's no need for AFFF there or any other dangerous chemicals that might be stored at Red Hill. So they need to shorten the time frame for removal of the 104 million gallons of fuel. And they need to be more transparent with our community. So my request is that they need to also expand the information sharing forum to include organizations like the Sierra Club or the Oahu Water Protectors, representatives from them, also on the information sharing forum. And the information sharing forum, and I thank Admiral Wade for his idea of creating that, but it needs to share information in a timely way to all the stakeholders. So the moment it happens, just to alert us that it's happened, to give us even the bare minimum details of something that has happened, to keep us all informed. It is important that the Navy continue to keep the regulators and the community informed of what's happening at Red Hill, almost on a real-time basis. And that's all I had to say this morning.
Thank you, Ernie, for talking to us today. We really appreciate it. The Navy said that the spill yesterday happened at 1 p.m. When did the Navy notify the Board of Water Supply? What was that length of time? And did the Navy share with you any possible reason why there was a spill? Because during yesterday's phone conference, they didn't have a reason.
The timeline was about 6 or 7 hours later. I got the text message and phone call. And I appreciate that. That came from Admiral Jeff Killian. He did that on his own. Prior to that, I had attempted to reach Admiral John Wade by cell phone. We also exchanged our cell phone numbers, so I called them as soon as I heard of the situation. And that was 6 to 7 hours. I think that's too long. it could have been a lot faster. The Department of Health, from what we heard from them, and you can ask them that kind of question, I think they were informed around 3 or 3:30 in the afternoon. The event occurred someplace around 1 or 1:30. So the timelines for informing the stakeholders and the regulatory agency should be shorter.
Have you been given any reason why this spill happened?
All right, that is Ernie Lau with the BWS speaking right there live. Our Mahealani Richardson is there as well and will be bringing you updates on this foam spill situation. But we do want to play out what the Navy and military had to say yesterday during that briefing that was just referenced. Here's what they had to say about the ongoing cleanup that is happening now.
Things like they're doing is they're putting down in absorbent mats. They're actually digging up areas. They're actually excavating dirt from around the area. We're actually pulling up concrete. There was actually a backhoe up there, so we're actually breaking up the soil and the dirt there to remove it immediately, and we're making pretty good progress on that. But make no mistake about it, we take these reports of leaks very seriously, and this is a very serious incident, and we're going to investigate the incident, and we're going to make sure that it doesn't happen again.
And that was the military responding late last night as that media briefing happened. We are expecting another one to happen later this afternoon at 2. We are efforting to bring that to you live on your H&N digital platforms as well.
Yeah, now to our other big story. The USGS says there is, quote, a very high probability that the lava flow from Mauna Loa will reach a key Hawaii Island highway.
Last night it was moving around, our calculations for last night, it was moving around 130 meters an hour. And it's about 3.6 miles from the Daniel K. Inouye Saddle Road right now. If it continues at that rate, the soonest it would get to the Saddle Road is approximately 2 days from this point. We expect it will probably take longer than that. As the lava flow spreads out, it'll probably interfere with its own progress, and we expect it to slow down some from that previous rate. So we're looking at about 2 days out at the earliest that it might actually hit the Saddle Road at this point.
I'm hearing 2 days. You say 2 days, it could possibly reach Saddle Road. I know we don't like to talk about how likely that is, but I got to ask the question, how likely is that? And if you just go into more detail of explaining what is happening as the lava enters that flat area. I know it's spreading. It hits flat and then spreads. So double question there, but most importantly, I think everyone wants to know the likelihood of it reaching the road.
Well,
we don't know the likelihood, but
yeah, I mean, the likelihood of it reaching the road, it's very high probability that this lava flow, if it continues, will definitely reach the road, right? It's just a question of timing. And so the timing I get is not that it's going to hit in 2 days, but that is the fastest time as of right now that it could get to cover the road. We expect it to meander a fair amount out in there, to spread out. It also might inflate once it gets on the flat road, on the flat ground, and store a lot of lava inside of it. That's a kind of a typical behavior even for flows. So there's a lot of things that could change when it arrives and where it arrives. So it can, if it spreads out, it can interfere with its own progress and get kind of caught in corners and fill areas in. So it's kind of a volume problem. You're pouring a lot of material out into an area, and we don't know exactly how that's going to occur. We don't have a really good handle on the fundamental properties of this particular flow just yet in terms of viscosity and that kind of thing. So, in terms of how it's likely to behave when it rolls out on that flat ground, we're just going to wait and watch and see what it's doing.
The state has a plan to close a portion of Daniel K. Inouye Highway on Hawaii Island if lava from the Mauna Loa eruption approaches it. Dylan Ancheta has the latest on that.
Right now, the lava is inching towards the major highway, but it is too soon to say if it will for sure cross it. Now, if the lava does cut through the highway, it would have a major impact on the island's infrastructure. So many people use the road, also known as Saddle Road, to go between the Hilo and Kona sides. Now, Hawaii Island Mayor Mitch Roth is asking residents to consider what alternatives they would use. Early Wednesday, officials said lava was about 3.6 miles from the highway, which remains open at this time. The state transportation department says if necessary, they would close it between the 8.8 and 21 mile markers. Barricades would go up at both points and be manned by law enforcement and DOT personnel. Officials stress the eruption does not pose a threat to downslope communities. Here's what Civil Defense Administrator Talmadge Magno had to say about the situation.
For government, for industry, is using that road. Losing that part of infrastructure will mean that we fall back to the coastal routes, Highway 19 and Highway 11, and traffic. Ever since DKI came into place, population's grown, and a lot more traffic on the road. So those communities, Hamakua, Waimea, they're going to be seeing an increase in traffic, and it's just going to cause congested areas to get more congested.
Now, by comparison, it would take weeks to months for lava from the summit to reach populated areas in the Northeast Rift Zone. The last eruption of Mauna Loa in 1984 also flowed into the Northeast Rift Zone, and lava in that case stopped within 4 miles of Hilo. Now, could that happen again? It is too early to say. However, authorities predict this eruption could last about 2 weeks, but things are rapidly changing. For This Is Now, I'm Dylan Ancheta.
And check out this new video of an lava flow on the northeast flank. Now, lava flows have a rough surface composed of broken lava blocks called clinkers. The clinkery surface covers a massive, dense core, which is the most active part of the flow. As pasty lava in the core travels downslope, the clinkers are carried along the surface. Now, however, at the leading edge of an flow, these cooled fragments tumble down the steep front and are buried by the advancing flow. This produces a layer of fragments both at the bottom and the top of the flow.
The biggest impact from the eruption so far seems to be the swarm of spectators gathering on Daniel K. Inouye Highway and flocking to Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. Eddie Dowd has the latest on that.
We are here at the base of Mauna Loa, where this lava flow is showing no signs of stopping. I'm going to step out the shot so you can see what we've noticed throughout the morning and now into the day is that stream of lava slowly making its way down towards the Daniel K. Inouye Highway. We were here last night, and we can see it has moved a little bit more towards the highway, but it is reaching a section of this area that is flat, and officials are hoping that that will slow it down. And I want to show you what that landscape looks like right now. The lava is coming down the mountain right now, but it will have to pass this flat area. And so some believe that once it gets here, that's when it will significantly slow down. So if it does ever reach the highway, it will take some time. However, everything is still up in the air, but plans are being worked on in case that happens. Reporting on the Big Island, Eddie Dowd, Hawaii News Now.
Thank you, Eddie. And he's been out there talking to so many people, trying to get their eyes on that lava, and officials saying, be cautious if you go up there along Saddle Road. You got to be careful, that's for sure. And if you want to watch those interviews, just go to your H&N digital platforms. And a reminder, we're still looking for your photos. See that QR code right there. You can scan it, and it'll take you to a page where you can upload yours. We have hundreds already. All right, right now, let's get a check of your weather. Here's Guy Hoggy.
We got light trade winds coming back today. Humidity levels won't be an issue, and those light trade winds will carry us into next week. Although by, say, Monday, we're going to see an increase in those winds come back, especially from Oahu all the way to Kauai. But for the most part, the winds should remain light for the duration of the forecast. Beautiful stuff on the way. A mix of high clouds and lower level clouds. Might be a little filtered sunshine today, but still, the sunrise skies might be spectacular today. And then we'll see fewer of those clouds and few windward and multiple showers for the duration of the forecast. Trade winds take over today from the light and variable winds, and they will hold into next week. All in all, what we see tomorrow will continue well into the middle of next week, and that's a long stretch of the best weather on the planet.
Oh, we'll get to more breaking news here in just a moment on your HNN extended stream on This Is Now coming up here in just a bit. We're going to check back in with that press conference and bring you even more lava coverage. But let's see what the feeds are talking about.
Yeah, so how does free McDonald's for life sound? Well, the fast food giant is offering a chance at what's called a McGold card. So from December 5th to the 25th, each purchase of at least $1 on the McDonald's app gets you an entry in the drawing to win one. 3 winners will get a card, and each winner will get 3 cards to give away to family or friends for a total of 12 winning cards. Now, it's not exactly free McDonald's for life. It's actually 2 free meals a week for 50 years. That's still pretty good. So the McGold card has been around for years, with some big name celebrities reportedly holding them, including Warren Buffett, Bill Gates, and actor Rob Lowe. McDonald's issued a few of them during a contest in 2018. They're valued at around more than $52,000.
Yeah, I'd say so. That's worth a lot of money.
Yeah, that's a lot of meals.
Yeah, I mean, you said how much is it worth? 52,000?
Mm-hmm.
I would think so, and it looks pretty cool too. It's like having a black card or something like that, right?
Very exclusive.
I think I might put us in for a chance. I'd split some with you. Oh, you get to share them though. That's cool.
Yeah, you get 3 cards if you win.
Okay.
So share the wealth.
Very cool. All right, The Rock has a very interesting story that he is a part of. Why is he buying all the Snickers from 7-Elevens or 7-Eleven right here in Hawaii? Jeremy Roth explains in today's Good News Now.
Today we have Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Snickers bars in a redemption story that really satisfies. Johnson recently posted a video of himself returning to a Hawaii 7-Eleven store where, as a teenager, Johnson says he used to steal a king-sized Snickers bar every day.
Because I couldn't afford to buy one, that was my pre-workout food.
So that's his secret. Anywho, The Rock decided to right his decades-old wrong by buying every last king-size Snickers in the store, and even treated the other customers to their own snacks.
What do you guys do?
The inspirational transaction left the shelves bare, but Johnson's heart was full. He said he finally got to exercise his chocolate demons. Hey, I'm inspired too. I think I'll start my fitness journey with a Snickers bar right now. Speaking of righting a past wrong, a Minnesota librarian has a story to tell after being taken aback by a book returned after 47 years. Karen Rodricks says a patron mailed a Mercedes-Benz repair manual to the Lake Elmo Library with a handwritten note saying it had been checked out in the mid-70s.
My apologies to anyone in Lake Elmo who was working on an old Benz in the last 47 years.
The anonymous patron also included $200 cash, which Rodricks says will be invested back into the library, a gesture of goodwill that was better late than never.
That just shows how much he values the library.
For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Yeah, and we want to leave you with this. So a lot of photos being posted online of the Mauna Loa eruption appear to show Madame Pele making her presence known. So some say you can see her dancing in the smoke and clouds above the lava. In this picture, in the clouds of smoke, you may be able to see the profile of the volcano goddess's face along with her long flowing hair.
I hadn't seen these yet. I'm actually impressed. I see both of them, so very cool. All right, guys, that's going to do it for This Is Now. More breaking news coverage just ahead on our extended stream on your HNN digital platforms. First at 4, we'll have all the updates as well on KHNL.